Next, we're going to review writing the point-slope form of a linear equation. To write the equation of a linear function given a point and its slope, we use this formula. Y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1, and what these variables represent, the point on the line is x1, y1, and the slope of the line is m. So here's an example. Write the equation of the linear function that passes through 1, 4 with a slope of 4. Write your final answer in slope-intercept form. Okay, so here's x1, here's y1, and here's m. And we're just going to put these numbers into the point-slope formula. And if we do that, we're going to get y minus 4 is equal to 4 times x minus 1. The finishing touch is simply to simplify, so we'll distribute y minus 4 is equal to 4x minus 4. We'll add 4 to each side, giving us y is equal to 4x, and then we'll move this into function notation. So remember, instead of y, we'll use function notation. F of x is equal to 4x, and that's all there is to it. That was writing the equation of a line given a point and a slope. Let's take a look now at how to write the equation of a line when you're given 2 points. For example, write the equation of the linear function that passes through -3, 4 and 1, 2. So the very first thing you need to do is you need to find the slope. So remember, slope is change in y. So here are our y coordinates. So we're going to start by subtracting those. So we're going to have 2 minus 4 over, and now we'll subtract the x coordinates, 1 minus -3. That gives us -2 over 4, or in other words, -1/2. Next, we're going to use the point-slope formula and pick one of the points. Either one, it doesn't matter. I'm going to use the second point, 1, 2, because both its coordinates are positive, and sometimes positive numbers are easier to work with. All right, so here we have our slope. Our slope is -1/2. Here we have x1, here we have y1. And we're going to simply put it into the point-slope formula. So we'll have y minus 2 is equal to -1/2 times x minus 1. And now this really is the equation of the line. All we do now is clean it up a little bit, solve for y, and then write it in function notation. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to distribute. That tells us that y minus 2 is equal to -1/2 x plus 1/2. We're going to add 2 to each side, and that tells us that y is equal to -1/2 plus 2.5. Now we rarely use mixed numbers, so just as a reminder, we're going to go ahead and write that as a fraction, all right? And so we have y is equal to -1/2 x plus 5/2. And again, we often write function notation instead. So f of x is equal to -1/2 x plus 5/2. And we would have gotten exactly the same answer had we decided to use this other point. So had we decided to use -3, 4 instead, in the end, we would have gotten exactly the same answer. So it doesn't matter which point you pick. All right, so now here's one for you to try. Try writing the equation of the linear function that goes through 5, 1 and 8, 7. And when you're done, write your final answer in slope-intercept form. Another way we can be asked to write a linear function is by given the graph. Now there's 2 ways you can do this. Either you can choose to find 2 points on the line, and use the process that we just talked about, which was find the slope and use a point in the point-slope formula, or we can just find the slope and the y-intercept from the graph. And if you're able to use this second method, it's always faster and easier. So if we look at this line, we can see that the y-intercept is 2. And to find the slope, we simply have to find 2 points that are on the line. So let's see. This one is a little tricky, but here's another point on the line. And when I say another point on the line, what I'm looking for is for the line to cross at an exact spot where we can find the exact coordinates of the point, like these points here, where we can give the coordinates of the points precisely. We want to avoid a point like this that's in between 2 points, where it would be hard for us to give the coordinates of the point precisely. But the two that I've noticed here on the I've shown on the graph, these are exact points. And then you can either use the formula for slope, knowing that this is the point 0, 2, and this is the point -4, 5, and you could use the slope formula. Or, since we have a picture, we could simply think of the step between these points and notice that it would go up 3 and over 4, and so we can see that the slope of this line is 3/4. So again, either use the slope formula, or you can just draw the picture. So y is equal to mx plus b, y is equal to 3/4 x plus 2, and in function notation, f of x is equal to 3/4 x plus 2. Here, let's do another example. Again, it's easiest, I think, to just think of y equals mx plus b and use the picture. So first we'll find the y-intercept, so here it is. And now we'll find 2 points in the line. Here's another point that's on the line. I'll think of the step. The change in y is 2, the change in x is 1, and so the slope is 2/1, or in other words, 2. And so the equation of the line is y is equal to 2x plus 0, because the y-intercept was 0, or in other words, y is equal to 2x. In function notation, f of x is equal to 2x. So here's one for you. Oh, one thing I forgot when I came, now that I'm thinking about it, can you think about what I forgot in this problem? You probably already knew, but I'm just going to fill in the details. Here, when I did the slope, I forgot that this was a downhill line. So the slope here is negative. So make sure that you change your notes here and go back. So when you're using the picture, you have to be careful to distinguish between uphill and downhill lines. So the slope was 3/4, but since the line is going downhill, we know the slope is negative. All right. So now here's one for you to try. I'll get you started. You want to use the formula y is equal to mx plus b. Here is your y-intercept right here, so you can see its coordinates. Find 2 points on the line. I think this one is an easy point to use. And then think about the step, or if you would rather, you can use the coordinates of the points, which are 0, -2, and 3, -1. All right, so I'll let you finish that off yourself.